Well, I think about that. I recently saw this CFPB released. I think it was yesterday. Well, it was November 30th, that talks about various business models in the industry and their respective compliance or perhaps lack of compliance considerations. And I think that's where they're concerned about, are these considered loans or advances, which would trigger a huge regulatory piece. And I think that's what has attorneys and compliance professionals nervous about adopting this earned wage access kind of model. And maybe you can clarify either that report and or how your model is perhaps different, or how what companies should be asking to make sure that it's not viewed as a loan.
Yeah, so we're thrilled that the CFPB has put this out. Let me, if you don't,
good, yeah.
Let me maybe take a step slightly to the side for 30 seconds.
Sure.
And maybe give the background here, and then I'll go into the technical stuff. So the background on this is, in the earned wage business, there are really two principal models. One is where the employee receives funds during the pay period, and there's no obligation to ever pay them back. Like, the technology takes care of that all behind the scenes, and the employee never returns or pays back those funds. That's kind of one version of this. And frankly, that's what we do for a living. There's never any payback by the employee. Vince, even though you may not be a consumer finance expert, nor am I, by the way, but I think we all know the following, because I think even my 4-year-old knows this. A loan is when you give something to someone and then they have to give it back. My 4-year-old Noah, right. He said, hey, I asked him, hey, where's your cement mixer truck? And he said his friend Joe borrowed it, but he'll return it. He'll return it. You see, even my 4-year-old understands, when you take something,
you got to give it back.
You got to give it back. Well, that's a borrowing. That's a loan.
Right.
And I think everyone gets that. Well, in DailyPay's model, Noah, my son, would be happy, or maybe he wouldn't be happy. The money goes out and there's never an obligation to ever return the funds, because the technology deals with the cash flows behind it.
Well, and it's because the wages have already been earned, right? It's that person's money. It's just a timing difference.
That's correct.
I work 2 days, I get paid 2 days, but I get paid every 2 weeks. So I'm just getting a pay advance on the money that I've already earned.
That's right.
That's right.
We like to call it a payment, not even advance.
It's not even advance. Yeah, it's a payment. Yeah, agreed.
So then if you go to the other side, and this is where the CFPB had to get involved, there are, unfortunately, some other models out there where they say, hey, look, here's $100, but we need that money back. You got to pay us. But look, we could either debit your account directly. So we'll literally go into your bank account and we'll take it. That's the equivalent of my son Noah banging down his friend Joe's house to steal, take back his truck he took.
Yeah.
The alternative, however, is they say, look, we'll make this easy for you. You still have to pay us back, okay? But we'll do that. We'll work with your employer. And what the employer will do is we will operationalize effectively a payroll deduction. Now, you still have to pay us because we're going to deduct that out of your final pay, but we'll make it easier for you. To go back to my analogy, that's like Noah telling his mom or me, could you please go to JoJo's house and take back my cement truck? Because I don't want to. At the end of the day, that cement truck has to get returned.
Right.
In other words, that still is a borrowing. And so really what's occurred is the CFPB has clarified that, hey, in the models where the employee is paying back via a payroll deduction, really in that model, the only model that we are comfortable with is one where there is no fee charged to the employee. In other words, we would rather see the employer pay the fee. And so we are pleased about this, frankly, because we've been saying for years and years and years, gosh, we're not smart people. We're real simple. You give something to someone and you don't expect a payback. That to me feels like a payment. In a world where you are co-opting a third party, in this case, the employer, or for that matter, going in yourself to the consumer's bank account, at the end of the day, there's still a payback. And gosh, that does feel like a loan to us.
Yeah.
We're thrilled that the CFPB agrees with us and agrees with my son Noah that when you get the truck back, well, that was a borrowing transaction.